Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Astrologer Eric Rosen for Viking Rising Astrology. The daily horoscope is here for you. It's here for you. It's here for the taking. It's here for your collective knowledge. It's here for January 10th of 2024. Thanks so much for being here. We're on a Wednesday. It's a hump day. Hump day looks like getting her done. We're definitely still seeing that dark moon energy, but now it's in Capricorn. So I think the getting it done energy looks a little bit more like do the simple things, focus, kind of like narrow the playing field a little bit. It reminds me of like slowing down, like playing golf. Maybe we could think of 27,000 different ways to take the shot. And it's like, well, maybe just do what you know how to do. Like just go back to the basics, of what's always made you successful in the most like simple point A to point B way, like not a bunch of theatrics, just simple. It reminds me of like Tiger Woods. He's a Capricorn, and he was very effective at his sport, and then he started going through all this stuff in his personal life, and then he really got in his head. And Capricorn's downfall, at least the lead up to it, is when they get too cerebral and think too much. And so with this dark moon energy crossing over Mars, I think we got to know that that's the strategy, is to not get distracted by too many things we're trying to discern emotionally and approaches to things and how to get things done. Like still, yeah, have fun. I mean, Venus, Sag, yeah, it's like keep the love alive. It's not impractical to still have love in your partnership situations, your projects. Love, it's like you can bring that ambiance, you can bring those aesthetics to that. But in terms of like the rationalizing Mercury at the end of Sagittarius, it's like, I hate to keep banging a negative drum, but it's like, don't get too overwhelmed. If anything, Mercury at the end of Sagittarius approaching the galactic center of the universe is surrender the mind to the infinite possibilities of what can come in. And, be that receiver and see that it's going to be you could say stress levels with our workload of not trying to overcomplicate things, overthink things, overweigh things out. That South Node in Libra, that's going to put us in the best position to always be receiving the subtle insights and information and not like getting overloaded with trying to think and connect dots with the downloads, as I call them, the awarenesses that can come in with that Mercury approaching that galactic center. So yeah, I mean, it's a great day today. I think that, we can skate high with that Saturn and Pisces. I think that, we keep planting, we keep doing the Taurus walk with Jupiter now direct and not waiting, but Uranus will come direct here towards, here in a few weeks. And so, we keep plowing forward. And I don't think we need to overtend to look at the crops too much. We don't need to get fixated on too many details. I think this is a lot about, the actions aren't always going to look perfect with that North Node and Chiron. And it's going to be the overthinking, the over strategizing that's going to maybe create inaction or, a lost identity and thinking that we're doing good when we're not. I don't know. It sounds terrible, but it reminds me of the athlete that just because they're on the field doing stuff, they think that they're contributing to the team. And it's like, we have to actually ground our energy and make sure that we're actually in the game, our head is in the game, we're focused, we're calibrated, we're taking those steps, we're becoming aware and even, asking the questions like, what can I do, Spirit? It's like sometimes that Mercury at the end of Sagittarius, it's so overwhelming. It's like, sometimes we need to maybe balance out with some of the Gemini energy where there's nothing there right now and kind of go, okay, well, let's simplify this a little bit. And of course, that's supported by that dark moon in Capricorn too, and that Mars, and that this, of course, the sun, going through here too. We're over halfway through Capricorn season. So I wouldn't trip today. I mean, we're finally coming out of the challenges of that Mercury and that Neptune. And so, we don't want to use this as some safety net energy that just because there's, a ladder that drops out of the fucking spaceship or the plane, to get you to safety, to get you out of hot water, doesn't mean you go and you snooze on it for hours on end and like, I need to relax. It's like, well, if you're needing to relax too much right now, or you're needing too much downtime or too much rest, you're probably, I hate to say it, but kind of fucked up, you know, where you're pushing too hard, you're using force, you're using stress with that dark moon, you're doing too much, your mind is all over the place, and that's okay. You know, there's lessons in that. You know, Capricorn energy is going to be lessons no matter what, but as one of my original mentors said, if you get the lesson, you don't need the lesson, you know? So I think that we just can, if we can pay attention, just be vigilant and focus again on the priorities. That's a huge one. It can be really easy right now to fall for the shiny object syndrome. And it reminds me of like this thing I saw yesterday. It was actually really beautiful. It was this, looked like it was handmade, like this, like white, clear, see-through and gold flower, little statue thing, but you know, it was also made out of plastic too. And so it would have been really cool if it was actually like made out of like glass, like hand painted or something like that. But you know, it's still plastic. It was still handmade, but it's like, do we really want to go back to the basics with that dark moon and try to be like hand making things, you know, that's not like good quality? It's like, remember, like teamwork, collaboration, partnerships are still important right now. We've got to be able to, you know, look at those things with that Jupiter in Taurus, and of course Uranus there too, even though it's retrograde, and we're reviewing how we can do better with our partnerships, collaborations. And with the South Node of Libra, it's like you can't get away from it. It's going to manifest. It's just the harmony is going to come from better, you know, communication. And sometimes, you know, I think we need to remember too that Mercury and Sag can remind us that communication can happen on some very far out there levels, that as long as we keep ourselves grounded and don't try to create a story, you know, there's forms of communication that can happen that's not just verbal, the person in the room, you know, it's intuitive awarenesses to reach out to that person, right? It's also having the courage to speak up and say things, but, you know, in like a very still, you know, grounded way that's, I would say like teamwork based. And, you know, Capricorn energy understands that in order to be the boss, the CEO of your life, it still needs people to get things done to satisfy the steps. That's why for, you know, all Capricorn suns, Aquarius is the second house, which is, you know, all about the building blocks of things and creation. So I love you all. I appreciate you guys popping in. If you guys want to get your own private astrology reading, you can pop into that link down in that bio below. Speaking of partnerships, I can drop the link in. If you guys either have a romantic partnership or even partnership with a family member or a business partnership, and you want to get some clarity out of that, I actually pull up the natal charts. I pull up what's called a composite chart, which is a couples chart, and maybe a couple others depending on what I'm feeling for the reading, to like flush out the guidance on how to navigate those relationship situations. Super important right now. It's like chef's kiss. It's like seasoning the spaghetti, you know, like seasoning the pasta. It just doesn't taste the same without it. We got to understand, if anything, like, you know, the details is like, what's the aesthetics of what's going on in partnerships, so that we, you know, don't try to use this wounded healer Chiron energy to be like, I'm so alone, I got to do things alone. And it's like the North Node is revealing that that's not true, that we've all got that isolated feeling wound, and that how that's even shown up in the past 3 years, and we can overcome that, you know, simply by the simpleness today. Love, action, focus. Love y'all. Take care.